as a whole, we've seen a falling away of moral formation in this country. And what is that doing to us?
Yeah, well, I mentioned all those statistics of how sad and mean we are. And so, like, the just big social breakdown. And so people say, well, what's causing all this? Like, why should people have fewer friends than before? Like, that just seems weird. And I think you can tell a lot of different stories, some of which would be true. That one would be a technology story. Social media is driving us all crazy. We don't have friends because we're on their phones. And I think you tell a sociology story that people used to be more active in community life. They went to church more. They went to synagogue, mosque, whatever. They were in the Kiwanis clubs. They were in the VFW or, so any civic organization. I think you can tell an economic story. People are just economically strained. They don't have time. But the story I tell is, and I agree with all those stories, but the story I tell, which I think gets neglected, is the morality story, that we just don't treat each other with the kindness and consideration we deserve. And moral formation sounds like this big fancy thing, but it's really three different jobs. One, it's helping people find ways to restrain their natural selfishness. And that's like being in a community where you learn habits of self-control. And very few of us can do this on our own. But if you're in a community surrounded by people who say, don't drink all the time or whatever, you have some buffers to police your own natural selfishness and your inability to think in the long term. And then the second part of moral formation is helping people feel an ideal they can orient their lives around. It could be, I want to live like Jesus. Or it could be, I believe in science and reason. I want to lead a rational life. But it's some ideal that'll give your life purpose and direction. And it gives you strength. Nietzsche, the philosopher, said, he who has a why to live for can endure anyhow. If you know why you're living, what you're doing, struggling for, then you can endure the setbacks because you know what your goal is. Mm-hmm. And then the third part, which is really what this book is about, is being considerate to people in the concrete circumstances of life. Like, how do you host a dinner party so everybody feels included? How do you break up with somebody without crushing their heart? How do you sit with someone who's depressed? These are just basic skills. And you can learn these skills the way you can learn carpentry or tennis or anything else. And so in the book, I just try to walk people through the skills. When you're first meeting somebody, what do you do? When you're having a dinner conversation with somebody, how do you make it a great conversation? I have a chapter in there, my friend who suffered from depression ended up taking his life. How do you sit with someone who's going through that? And these are just basic skills. And I think we haven't taught these skills